Yeah.
We'll move on. So at the bottom of the agenda, we have presentations in Habitat, but we know to move this ahead from Mr. Donald so that he can get on his way because he has important work to do. So I believe it's twice a year, we make a donation out of Act 137 towards Habitat for Humanity, which does some incredible work. I believe they're up to house number 35, maybe moving into 36. 35, and that funding comes out of Act 137, which is the recording fees that is paid by people when we record any documents in the county. So at this time, we'll give Mike his check and let him go on his way. And this is really the residents of everybody, $75,000, and we know it will be well spent.
Besides building houses, we also build ramps, and in fact, we started a ramp yesterday. And just so you know, I see building contractors here, we do not take jobs where people, they can't afford to hire a contractor. And this is an elderly couple, one is in a wheelchair, one is in a walker, and we started the ramp yesterday out in Coconut Woodlands, and they will pay us back for the materials at $10 or $15 or $20 a month, whatever they can afford, and all the labor is free. We do that in addition to building houses. We're on house 35 now and accepting applications for house 36. So thank you very much. The prices have gone up considerably. If you want to check it in Walmart or Home Depot or Brewers, you'll find out the pricing is unbelievable these days. I bought a piece of Schedule 40 the other day. I paid $50 for it.
Yeah.
All right.
So Mike, we know you do great work.
Thank you for your leadership. We could not have a better leader for
Thank you
having
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Labor costs have also gone up a lot, and you guys are donating that, so we really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everybody. And who started this was the founder of Habitat in Pike County, Margaret Mary Jonas, and my next door neighbor, Dennis Brink, Donald Brink. Donald Brink. They started this fund many years ago when Habitat was founded in Pike County, and it has increased considerably, I believe, since then.
It's a great program in our county. We thank you for what
All
you
right.
do. Thank you, Michael.
Bye, everybody.
Be well. So next item we have is motion to recess the Commissioners meeting to hold a retirement board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Retirement board, call the retirement board meeting to order. Motion is second. All done. Motion to approve the April 19th, 2023 agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the March 15th, 2023 minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve refunds of contributions to employees no longer with the county. There's 8 individuals listed.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following deferred retirement. There's 1 person listed.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following retirements of the 3 individuals listed.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following death benefit.
Motion.
Second. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the following invoices for payment. Those are in the Corn Ferry. I'll just put these off $5,410, Beyond Investment, $43,361.71, and Broadridge Matrix Trust Company in the amount of $11,876.69.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn the retirement board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to reconvene the commissioners meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the April 19th, 2023 agenda.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Oh, we have one addition to this. Under number 5, we just have to, I'm sorry, we have to add under debt service, we have to add a payment of $3,410.46. And I'll ask for a motion when we get to that, but that's to add to the agenda, so I'm gonna have that motion with that correction.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the April 5th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the April 12th, 2023 conference minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve payment in the general fund in the amount of $1,613,391.02.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Now I'm gonna add this one right here, right? Motion to pay the debt service in the amount of $3,410.46.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to change the title of Migdala Cortez to the Office Administrator in the District Attorney's Office effective May 1st, 2023.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to recess the Commissioners meeting to hold a salary board meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Salary board, motion to convene the salary board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve the April 5th and 12th, 2023 salary board minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to combine the positions of Central Booking Coordinator and CJAB Coordinator in the District Attorney's Office into one position called Office Administrator effective May 1st, 2023.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to set the annual salary of Regalia Cortez at $65,000 due to additional duties and responsibilities of the Office Administrator in the District Attorney's Office effective May 1st, 2023.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn the salary board.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to reconvene the Commissioners meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to open bids for the Pike County Jail Ice Building Roof Replacement Project.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Here we have two, one from Gilmore Roofing. Bid amount is $80,000 with contingencies for a total of $85,000. And then the second bid is from Pro Solutions Home Renovations in Milford. Got the bid line. Sure, it's in there. somewhere. Just looking. I don't know where it's looking.
She must have, I don't know. It's in there. Check again. Yeah, it's probably not gonna be there, yeah, it's probably somewhere in.
Right here.
Can I give you, can I look at the computer?
Yeah. I'm missing a this, or 79.5. 79.5, 69.5 with a contingency of 5, up to 10, 79.5. I'd ask both be tabled to be reviewed by the engineer and myself to make sure we also have a bid bond.
Yeah, so if I have a motion to table the awarding of bid until our May 3rd commissioner meeting?
May 3rd.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion, second, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dan.
No, I'm sorry, she's over. There's a lot.
That's
Thank you,
it.
guys.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people. Okay, next item is motion to advertise bids for the Bennett Avenue Building 1 interior renovations project.
Motion.
And second.
Motion is second, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
So this is the first phase of the construction at Bennett Avenue for moving transportation and the Department of Human Services to that location. This is the main building in the front of the property, which was the PennDOT headquarters, as opposed to the buildings in the rear, which will be in separate bids. The thing I always want to bring up about this is where the plan is to make this into a vocational training center for those with disabilities. This is an important move for the county to do this. All of our vehicles now are being maintained by contracts with outside vendors. This is going to bring all of that in-house and allow it to be housed at that facility, which many of you have been down there. It's a very big building that was built in 1931 during the Pinchot years. So it's important that we preserve the building. So we're looking forward to getting these bids in the next couple of weeks and begin that project also. It's that important, I believe, to the county to do this. And along with, in the future, it will be the recycling center and also a archival center for all the documents that we have to store here in the county. Okay. Next item we have is under new business. Motion to adopt resolution number 2319, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, April 2023.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Ron?
I'll read that. Resolution number 23-19, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, April 2023. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month is intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and has public health implications for every community member of Pike County. And whereas 1 in 5 women will be raped in their lifetime. And whereas nearly 63% of women have experienced some form of sexual violence. And whereas 1 in 4 young women experience sexual violence while on a college campus. And whereas between 25% and 29% of LGBTQ identifying people are victims of rape. And whereas roughly 24% of men have experienced sexual violence in their lifetime. And whereas the estimated lifetime cost of rape is $122,461 per victim. Whereas staff and volunteers of Victims Intervention Program in Pike County encourage every person to speak out when witnessing acts of violence, however small. And whereas with leadership, dedication, and encouragement, there is compelling evidence that we can be successful in reducing sexual violence in Pike County through prevention, education, increased awareness, and holding predators who commit acts of violence responsible for their actions. Whereas Pike County strongly supports the efforts of national, state, and local partners, and of every citizen to actively engage in public and private efforts, including conversations about sexual violence is and how to prevent it, how to help survivors connect with services, and how every segment of our society can work together to better address sexual violence. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners of Pike County, join anti-sexual violence advocates and support service programs in the belief that all community members must be a part of the solution to end sexual violence. Along with the United States government and the state of Pennsylvania, do hereby proclaim April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
So we have here some representatives from VIP. Want to speak on this?
Yes.
Yeah. Chelsea?
Yes.
All right.
Michelle couldn't be here today. She is fighting the flu for her 4th day. So hopefully she's on the mend. But we do have a pretty large group with us today, which I'm excited about because Pike County, we have a smaller staff in Pike County, so it's nice to see some of our Wayne County faces here with us today. When we were talking about Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we always like to come up with some type of theme. and this year we chose the theme Healing Together. We, as an agency, help our clients and our survivors of sexual assault heal on their own journey, and they put in a lot of work. So now we wanted to ask the community to heal from sexual violence with our survivors, alongside our survivors. And what healing looks like to us, we kind of sat down and tried to figure out a way to bring healing to life and figure out a way to ask people to heal. We have to give you a guideline. And to us, healing looked a lot like change. If you're healing from something physically, your body has to go through changes in order to grow. If you are healing from some kind of trauma, mentally, your mindset, everything in order to grow has to go through some sort of change. So our community has to go through some sort of change in order to heal from sexual violence. And what that might look like is changing the way we talk about sexual violence, the way we write about it, the way we read about it. I always come prepared with examples. So some of you might be familiar with a case that happened quite a while ago. It was Brock Turner, who was charged with raping a woman on his school campus. And most of the headlines read something along the lines of star collegiate athlete's career in jeopardy due to sexual assault allegations. What they should have looked like is man rapes unconscious woman behind a dumpster on college campus. But we like to sugarcoat what we're writing and what we're reading so that it doesn't seem as violent and as awful. And sexual assault and rape is an awful thing. So why are we trying to make it seem like it's not that big of a deal? By the way, Brock Turner only ended up serving about 6 months probation. That is less time than Martha Stewart served, and it is less time than somebody would have served if they were caught out after curfew during a peaceful Black Lives Matter protest, just for the record. We need to change the way we talk about victims, the way we approach talking about victims in sexual assault. Just a few weeks ago in our own courthouse, I listened to a defense attorney repeatedly refer to the plaintiff in the child sexual assault case as a young woman. She was 12 at the time the incident occurred. 12 years old. She's a child. She's not a young woman. And we need to change the way that we educate about sexual violence. Myself and many of the other women in this room, I'm sure, can come up with a really long list. Oh look, I did come up with a really long list of things that we are taught as young girls in order to avoid victimhood. It includes not going out alone. If you're going on a date, make sure that you're telling your friends where you're going, what time you're going, who you're going with, where you plan on going, and what kind of car the person drives that might be driving you. Don't think about going anywhere without pepper spray or some type of weapon. Don't go to the bar alone. If you go to the bar, don't leave your drink on the bar unattended. Actually, when you carry your drink, carry it from the top so that nobody can slip a drug into it. If you're going to go to the bathroom, make sure you take a friend with you because it's not safe to go to the bathroom by yourself. If the creepy guy at the bar asks for your number, don't refuse to give it to him because he might be mad. But also don't give it to him because then it might be leading him on. Don't smile at the creepy guys at the bar because that is also leading them on and you don't want to cause yourself any trouble down the road. Don't give them a fake number when they ask for it because it's just going to piss them off and we don't want to do that. Am I missing any? Anybody else want to throw any out? Because I know that there's a lot. When you're renting an apartment, don't rent one on the first floor. Don't open your windows when you're home alone. You should probably get a big dog for safety if you're living on your own as a woman. Don't wear anything too short because you don't want to give the wrong impression, but also don't wear anything that covers up too much because then you look like a prude. We can go on and on and on about the messages that we send young girls about how to protect themselves. Commissioners, can you think of anything that you were taught as young boys to avoid victimhood from sexual violence?
I think the normal one is don't talk to strangers.
Right. So your one message that's on here too somewhere on the long list. But the point is that we don't really talk to boys about it because we don't expect them to. We don't expect young boys to have to save themselves, but we put all of the burden on young women. So changing the rules that we consistently set for young girls and the messages that we're sending to young people about sexual violence is the only way we're gonna start to heal as a community. And the way we educate about consent too. Just this month, VIP has, what are they called? Coffee sleeves that go over like a hot cup of coffee. And year after year, multiple local coffee shops will use those sleeves. You might have seen them, and they say things like, "We believe survivors," or "We ask for consent." And one of the owners that I had a conversation with this month said he doesn't want to use them. His prerogative, that's okay. But the reasoning was because he didn't want to assume that his customers did that his customers asked for consent, which means that he's more concerned with making rapists feel more comfortable in his establishment than victims. And that just didn't feel right. And I think it comes down to the fact that we don't educate about consent, and sometimes consent is seen as a dirty word. So, this is his second commissioners meeting, so we're really proud.
And no wonder he wants to leave.
He did good for a while.
Yeah, he
He
did.
needed a long board.
Yes, smart boy.
The bottom line is that we have a lot of work to do as a community. We have a lot of changes that we have to make if we ever want to heal and prevent sexual violence from just reoccurring. And there's been a lot of talk about like epidemics recently, right? We just came out of a really terrible epidemic, but I don't think people understand that sexual violence in itself is an epidemic in this country. And we are one of the best countries in the world. Why is this still happening? How can we change? How can we, as a community and individuals, change what is happening on a daily basis to our friends, our neighbors, our daughters and brothers and sisters, and everybody that's important to us? We all have a job to do, and making those really small changes are going to make a really colossal impact on our community and our families. So thank you for your continued support. This is the biggest crowd I've ever seen at a commissioners meeting, so thanks for being here, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have? Thank you very much. It's very important we keep that message out there. And we'll do everything we can in this office to make sure that message
Thank you.
is put there. Okay, next item we have is motion to adopt resolution number 2320, National Volunteer Week, April 16th, 22 to 2023.
Motion?
And second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Tell me, you're gonna read that one?
Sure. Resolution number 23-20, National Volunteer Week, April 16 to 22, 2023. Whereas service to others is the hallmark of the American character and central to how we meet our challenges, and whereas AmeriCorps seniors participants, specifically RSVP in Pike County, sponsored by Daikin Community Services, address the most pressing challenges facing our communities. They support seniors to live independently and age in place with dignity, as well as support other community priorities, respond to natural disasters, and support veterans and military families. And whereas national service participants increase the impact of the organizations they serve, both through the direct service and by managing millions of additional volunteers, invest in community solutions, and leverages non-federal resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return on taxpayer dollars. And whereas national service participants demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an intensive commitment to service, a commitment that remains with them in their future endeavors. And whereas AmeriCorps seniors share a priority with local leaders nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities, and is joining with the National League of Cities, the National Association of Counties, Cities of Service, and local leaders across the country for National Volunteer Week 2023. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the Pike County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 16 to 22, 2023 as National Volunteer Week, and encourage residents to recognize the positive impacts of national service in our community, to thank those who serve, and to find ways to give back to their communities. I'm a representative on the Area on Aging Advisory Board, and got to know much more in the last year or so serving as commissioner about what the RSVP group does. In fact, they're being honored at a luncheon next Friday up at Camp Ladora up in Waymart. But particularly in a county like ours where we're spread out so much and with only so much transportation opportunities, although we do have some for seniors, it is really great that these people volunteer to help those seniors be able to remain in their homes, be able to have dignity in their lives, even when life's not going as well for them many times, because none of us get any younger, including me. But nonetheless, we really do appreciate that volunteer effort, because it is essential to keep people's lives meaningful, so.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah, they are very important to our community, like you say, in a rural community. Was there anybody here to speak on that? I'm not sure if we did, right? Okay. Thank you. So the next item we have is motion to adopt resolution number 2321, Conservation District Week, April 23rd to 29th, 2023.
Motion?
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Ron, you're on.
Resolution number 23-21, Conservation District Week, April 23rd to 29, 2023. Whereas conservation districts are local units of government established under state law to carry out natural resource management programs, and whereas conservation districts work with landowners and local governments to help them manage and protect land and water resources on private and public lands, and whereas conservation districts were created in PA in 1945 in response to the Dust Bowl of the 1930s to improve soil and water conservation. Whereas each county in PA has a conservation district except for Philadelphia. And whereas local municipalities rely on the conservation district staff to plan development in a way that conserves and protects the local environment. And whereas districts also work with many partners, including government agencies, private organizations, businesses, and others to accomplish their mission of helping landowners to conserve natural resources. Whereas the districts are each led by volunteer board of directors with farmers, public members, and member of county government, which identifies local conservation needs, decides with programs and services to offer, and develops a strategic plan. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the Pike County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 23rd to 29th, 2023 as Conservation District Week to commemorate the great work accomplished by Pennsylvania's 66 conservation districts. I'm fortunate to be the commissioner who sits on the conservation board and works with a fantastic board and staff led by Michelle Long. But I also see we have someone who used to call herself the Creative Pumpkin, but now is the voice of conservation in Pike County and throughout the state, Kelly Stegan, who sits on the board with us. Michelle, would you like to say a few words?
I sure would. Thanks for having us here today, and thank the commissioners for the proclamation. Next week we'll be celebrating Conservation District Week. The big highlight for next week is our Pike Wayne Envirothon that we do jointly with Wayne County, which is next Wednesday at the Brookfield Education Center. And it's appropriate, I think, that we're here this week celebrating National Volunteer Week. We have such an